Hi, it's Helen Tarrant. Welcome to another episode of Commercial Property Roadshow. You're here with Helen Tarrant, and today it's almost Christmas, so I'm a Christmas tree. So I've just done my webinar with my group, and I thought I would record this video and talk a little bit about additional costs in terms of commercial property. So there's been a few questions regarding what additional costs do you need when you get into a commercial property deal. So obviously when we're looking at a commercial property deal, we need a deposit and we need a loan. So we need two major things, deposit and loan. So the loan is usually a commercial loan. The deposit can come as a drawdown from equity from your current home, or it could be cash deposit in your bank account, or cash deposits in an offset, or you might have money in your self-managed super fund, or money in your retail industry fund that you're going to transfer into a self-managed super fund. So that's multiple ways of being able to get your deposit. So depending on how much you have in deposit and how much is the loan to valuation ratio of your loan, it depends on the purchase price. But apart from that, what else do you need? Well, typically you need a few things. You need some money that you're going to use towards due diligence. So let's say you're buying something that's away from your state. So if you're located in Sydney, buying something in Brisbane or buying something in Melbourne, you might want to go and fly and see that. So that's an extra $1,000 to budget for by the time you get there, car hire, and drive around and have a look at the property and stay overnight. If you also need to budget some stuff for strata search. So a strata search is usually somewhere about $330 for a strata search if you're buying a property within a complex. So you're buying a little warehouse property, or you're buying a proper office space or a retail space, so you need to do a strata search. The other thing to budget for is maybe a pest and building. So if you're not buying a strata property, you're buying a property that is freestanding, that stands on its own. So you're going to need a pest and building. Pest and building can be anywhere from $400 to $800 or $1,000, depending on how large the building is. So you got to budget for that. Some other costs may be that you want to do some searches. So you might want to do some council searches. You might want to do some searches on the land. You might want to do some title searches. All those things that your solicitors need to do. So that can be up towards $1,000 or so. And of course, finally, solicitors costs. Now, with our group, we do a special with the solicitors that we use that can operate in Sydney, in Melbourne, as well as Queensland. So if you are doing any of those deals, we've got someone who can help you out with those, and then we can refer you on the other states as well. But solicitors normally can start, especially with commercial transactions, you really got to be careful here, because sometimes you have a solicitor that the cost actually blows out because you end up having, extensions. You're asked doing a lease review. You get your solicitor to do some searches. You get your solicitor to do due diligence. You get a list to go through your strata search and your pest and building. Then all of a sudden your cost could be $7,000-8,000. What we're trying to do is actually confine that. So find a fixed rate solicitor for commercial transactions. Really, really important. Our solicitor charges our clients $1,500, so $1,500 plus GST and disbursement, so about $2,500. So all up, you should probably be budgeting, including stamp duty, because that's the next cost after you have the initial loan and deposit. That's the next big cost, is stamp duty. Somewhere like Queensland is sitting around that 4.5%. Somewhere in New South Wales, it's sitting just below 5%, and something in Victoria, it's actually towards 5.5% in terms of stamp duty. So the stamp duties vary from state to state, so make sure you're aware of that as well. So I normally say budget anywhere between 5 to 7% on top of your purchase price for all of the costs that's involved in doing the deal. So if you are buying a property that is $500,000, you're going to need somewhere around the vicinity of $25,000 to possibly $30,000 in order to complete the deal. So just make sure that you have that money set aside so that you can actually complete the deal without putting a strain on your budget. So that's how much you're going to need as additional costs. Now, after you settle on the property, or when you go towards settlement, is there any additional cost? So normally there is a valuation cost as you do the loan. There is some bank fees, and there's some establishment fees. That's all dependent on the loan and the type of loan you're getting. And then when it comes to settlement, there might be slight adjustments in terms of the rates and the outgoings. But it depends, again, if your tenants are paying the outgoings or whether you are, and the tenants then paying a higher rent as well. So just have a little bit more left over so that you've got money for that as well. So the timeline of how much a deal is done is and every state varies, but we'll usually allow a certain period for due diligence. Any commercial property, you make an offer when you are actually 60% sure of the property. You don't need to be 100% sure, you need to be 60% sure. You make an offer to see if you actually want to spend money and time doing the other 40%, because you want to spend that time actually going, is this deal going to be doable? If you can't put the deal together purely because the vendor just not going to sell at your price, then there's no point even going forward, because the other 40% starts to cost money. The first 60%, you can get the information memorandum, you can get the lease, and you can then do some area searches on Google. You can go for a drive and see the property if you are local, or you can then even do RP data searches. You can do some other searches by the tenant, like you can look at the tenant information. You can do lots and lots of research on the property without you actually spending money. But anything further, you're going to have to send some more detailed information and get some detailed searches on the property, on the tenant, as well as a solicitor to review your leases and everything. So before you do that, you make an offer. See if you can match up the offer with what you want to pay and what the vendor is willing to sell, and your conditions and terms. If they are, then it's worth going the next step. Put the property under offer. Thoroughly do your due diligence. Put it on the contract. Thoroughly do your due diligence, and then go unconditional. And the most friendliest state to do that is actually in Queensland, followed by Victoria, because there's a bit more of a leeway, followed by New South Wales, when we are much tighter in New South Wales in terms of doing a commercial deal. So if you're a beginner, start somewhere in Queensland, and then, but if you want to buy somewhere local and you're in Melbourne, look at regional Victoria, where you're going to have more leeway in terms of due diligence and finance. And likewise, if you're in Sydney and you're looking at something that's local, regional New South Wales will give you more leeway in terms of due diligence and finance as well, clauses as well. So hopefully that's been helpful in getting you to understand how commercial property deals work. And don't forget, hit the bell and subscribe. If you want to reach out to us for a personalized strategy session, helentarrant.com, contact us page, and I'll jump on a call with you. Meantime, over Christmas, we'll be shut down for about 2 weeks. So the Tuesday, which is about the 22nd of December, will be our last video. And then we won't come back until the week of the 4th of January. So make sure you tune in and catch up on the old episodes, and then give me some comments on new content you'll like. And I look forward to creating new videos in 2021. Bye for now.